Everybody, I'm here with Josh Thompson. He's a patrol officer in Alabama. Josh, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself for everybody?
Hey guys, I'm Josh Thompson. I'm a police officer with the Auburn Police Department in Auburn, Alabama. Um, so I started out with Fit to Serve. I finally made the decision to go ahead and jump in. Um, I've been lifting since I was in high school. Started out with football lifting, conditioning, all that stuff. After high school, well, my junior year in high school, I blew out my knee. Ended up having a lot of issues with my left leg entirely going into my senior year just because of dislocating that kneecap. Well, I had a fluid sac that was not where it was supposed to be. I ended up getting that fixed about a year and a half after high school. So I'd been dealing with that for a year. Lifting, trying to run, couldn't really get running. Ended up getting that fixed, going to academy, getting in probably the best shape of my life outside of football. Um, After being on patrol, working long hours, um, I was still able to hit the gym frequently. But then after moving from Nevada, being a state trooper out there, working 4 10-hour shifts and moving out here to Alabama, working 4 12s and starting my bachelor's degree, I was having a lot of trouble with scheduling and going to the gym because I was just so inundated with classwork. Um, I decided to go ahead and make the decision to start with Fit to Serve just to help with that scheduling and that um, just that overall,
Getting back into the routine.
yeah, getting back into the routine and
Yeah,
the
man.
meals and the calories and all that kind of stuff. And um, I found that the plateau that I was at for the last year and a half of just not really being able to lose weight, being at fluctuating between 215 and 220, not really seeing a whole lot of strength gains I mean, now I'm down to about between 205 and 200. Obviously, the goal weight's lower than that, but I've seen extreme increases in strength and cardio, stamina, general flexibility because my hips were super tight, shoulders were super tight, and being on a motorcycle, it's really bad to have all that stuff super tight all the time, especially with all the slow cone work and motor competitions. And being in a college town, there's folks that obviously run from us on foot a lot. Um, I ended up getting into a foot pursuit. Lost track of the guy. I was able to catch up to him, but I was so tired at the end. I didn't know if I was going to have the ability to actually fight with the guy if they wanted to fight. So that and the other things I talked about is really what pushed me to go with Fit to Serve. I was really happy with the decision. I mean, my all my lifts have gone up exponentially. I mean, just like for the one that's gone up the most is Romanian deadlifts. I was a really love doing those on leg days, especially after squats. Um, I was doing maybe 185 on a good day if my legs weren't just completely tore up from squats. Now I'm pulling 275, and it's the only thing that's holding me back from going heavier is my grip,
Oh yeah, bro.
which I've
Almost up 100
seen.
pounds in 10 weeks.
Yeah,
That's
yeah. So it's
huge. Awesome.
huge jump. Benching 225 for 4 sets of 6 to 8 is a whole lot more comfortable than it was when I first started. I've got a whole lot more mobility, obviously a whole lot more stamina. I didn't know this when I started out with Fit to Serve that I actually had a PT test coming up about a month and a half, 2 months after the start. Ended up after the second week gearing a lot of the fitness goals towards making sure I can max out all those tests. And I maxed out pretty much everything except for that 6 minute run. To max it out, it was a 6 minute mile, and I missed it by about 10 seconds.
But you max everything out.
Yeah, maxed
Just
everything out.
very close to the run. And that was
Was
only
that?
what? Like 4 weeks in, right?
Yeah,
Yeah. So awesome, man. So how old are you now?
28.
28. So outside of, you were in high school, you hurt your knee then, you went out to Nevada, right? To be a state trooper out there. So how
Yeah,
long
so I actually did all my schooling and all that in Nevada.
so how long
So
total have you been on in law enforcement?
in August, it'll be 7 years.
Awesome. So really like lately, everything kind of catching up to you, like the long shifts, the 12-hour shifts, all that kind of stuff. You slowly saw the weight start creeping up. You started seeing yourself, just like everybody else, falling out of the habits that you had back in high school, doing the workouts, doing the meal plan, and everything like that. So, um, I guess, when you started, you were around what, like 215, 220 in terms of your
Yeah.
weight. Now, 10 weeks in, you're about 10 to 15 pounds down, right? You said you were hovering around the 200, 205 mark. You had been plateaued for, I think you said a year prior to that. What
Yeah.
has been different, over the last 10 weeks than what you were doing prior to it?
I think it's just different, throwing different workouts at my body instead of being stuck in the same, um, 5x5, 5x8, not
Hmm.
really pushing and trying to remember what I did the week before, having the app to kind of track what I was doing before, like, oh, all right, I did, this weight for all three or all four sets last week
Yeah.
for max reps. It's probably time I bump it up. And that's, I think, where I've seen the most strength gain. In those first 4 weeks, I mean, I dropped down from 220 to I think 202 in just that first 4 weeks with how the workouts were structured. It was a lot of supersets of three
Hmm.
or four workouts, and then really just pushing myself to make sure that I'm not taking breaks between those workouts in the superset.
Yeah.
And I mean, it was really hard. I pushed myself really hard, but it was very rewarding after that 4 weeks.
Yeah. So you think having like the personalized app, being able to track everything in terms of your workouts, having the coach put it all together for you, that's been the game changer for you?
Absolutely, yeah.
What about like, in terms of the nutrition part? Because obviously, doesn't just come from the workouts. Workouts are a big part of it, but in terms of the nutrition.
So the nutrition part, having the really having the app to help me track what protein is in the food I'm eating
Hmm.
is and how many calories are in the food I'm eating has been a big game changer. So I
Yeah.
used to just do what I did in high school. Okay, big meals, a lot of protein 3 times a day, which was great when I was running for 3 or 4 hours a day in football practice.
Hmm.
It's not the same when, I mean, yeah, you burn a lot of calories on a motorcycle. When I'm at work, I burn anywhere from 3 to 4,000 calories a day.
Right.
But
Different life though.
yeah,
Different life now.
yeah, different life. Not running 5, 6 days a week for practice and all that stuff.
Hmm.
So having that, being able to control the calories and still be able to hit the protein goals, that's just having the app to track that has been a huge game changer. It makes you accountable for what you're eating and what you're putting into your body.
Right. And as you mentioned, you were into sports, you were doing everything. So like you knew how to do the workouts, you knew kind of like what you should be eating, what you shouldn't be eating. What do you think the biggest thing was for you to kind of start getting yourself back on track?
The biggest thing is just, feeling sluggish and almost losing that foot pursuit, man.
Yeah.
Um, like I was when
That's
I
what kind of
got
pushed you over
hired,
the edge to be like, I'm going to get some help. I need to
yeah,
fix
I
this.
I need to make sure that I'm not in that position again.
Yeah.
And when I first got hired by the department, I mean, I had 3 month break between Nevada Highway Patrol and the department I'm with now. So I had 3 months to just absolutely tear it up in the gym 5 days a week, run,
Mhm.
make sure I'm tracking the right calories because I'm, at home all the time. Instead of, all right, it's, you know, 5 o'clock in the morning and don't really know what to eat because I'm not really hungry yet. And then wait until 7 o'clock. It's like, you know what? I failed to plan for breakfast. I guess I'm just going to go grab something at like the gas station or just the restaurant real quick. And
Yeah.
all the calories that just kind of builds up with that.
Right. So, I appreciate you telling us your story, Josh. If any other LEO, any other cop, was listening to this, what would you tell them if they're on the fence about joining?
If you're on the fence, um, go ahead and jump both feet in to just making the commitment that you will, if you put in the work, you're going to reap the benefits. And
Absolutely.
if you're on the fence, just go ahead and jump over the fence because you'll thank yourself afterwards.
Awesome, man. Again, Josh, I appreciate you telling us your story. And look forward to continuing your progress and getting you down those last few pounds that you're looking for.
All right. Thanks,
All
man.
right.